everybody. Well, welcome. We are so excited to have you here and to finally have arrived at the MAP launch day, the Mayoral Action Plan. The day started out on our mayor's office text stream with it's MAP launch day and lots of really fun memes. So this is something we've been working for a while, and we're really excited to now share it with the public and with all of you. So today we're first going to hear from our poet laureate, Joanna Lee. Then Mayor Avula will come up and talk about the why. Why did we do this mayoral action plan? CAO Donald will then talk about the how we're going to get this done. Followed by Thad Williamson, the senior policy strategist in the mayor's office, and Shannon Paul, who is the deputy director of our Department of Justice Services, but also moonlights in the mayor's office. They were instrumental, the full crafters of this mayoral action plan. So they're going to share a little bit of their thoughts. So I'm going to kick us off with introducing Joanne Lee, the City of Richmond's Poet Laureate. So in 2020, the City of Richmond launched the Poet Laureate program as a way to highlight gifted artists and use the literary arts to provide support during an unprecedented time. Well, we want to continue that tradition because the seventh pillar, yes, the pillars we'll talk about, is a city that tells its story. And so we want to incorporate the arts and incorporate storytelling into all that we do. In 2021, Douglas Powell, Roscoe Burnhams, was named the city's inaugural Poet Laureate. And in April of 2024, Joanna Lee was named the City of Richmond's second Poet Laureate. Joanna is founder of the River City Poets Community, a former Central Region Vice President and President pro tempore for the Poetry Society of Virginia. And I also have her poem from the inaugural day of service up on my wall in my office. So without further ado, Joanna Lee.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having this in the middle of the afternoon here on a Wednesday. I am a poet with a day job. My husband and I own a cafe and work a cafe across the river, so you guys got me out of work this afternoon, so I'm really happy for that. Most frequently, I'm here at City Hall to pay my meals taxes, so this is really a treat to be here for a more sort of celebratory occasion. I do write a lot about the city, and I'm really excited to hear about, encompassing the city that tells its stories as one of the pillars in this plan. I think it's really important that Richmond has such a past that has a weight to it, that it can be very heavy at times, and it also has trickled into its present. It affects us every day in our day-to-day lives, and I think it's important that our voices are heard and shared. So I just want to share with you two quick poems today about different parts of the city that I'm familiar with. The first is my neighborhood. Shout out to Brooklyn Park, Battery Park, and the North Side. A fat moon slings its shine low, washing the ball courts in Battery Park, a dull aluminum. From where the road cuts across the playground, the huge old oak they felled yawns to the left, its roots leaving deep scars in the clay, like the edge of some wormhole to the underworld. Like maybe you could disappear here. Like maybe if you left the road and stepped into the shadow beyond the yellow caution tape, you could lose yourself. Maybe if you let yourself shed enough of the city, her catcalls and gunshots and sirens, her past and past and past. If you left her conflict buried in the cold earth with the sounds of the corner liquor store and the squeal of tires into the night, if you ran your palms over the rough, withered body of fallen trunk and knew if dead trees know shame, you could find yourself again. Would you come back to her? This second piece, so a lot of what I read about the city has some bitterness to it, right? There's the heaviness. It's hard to leave that out of the voice, but it also has some hope. I was trying to find some poems that I feel like echo where I hope we are going with this plan and where the city's trajectory is. And so this poem is called Driving the River Roads at Night, close on Chapel Isle. It's right along Shiplock Park, down by the river. You know the spot. Tracks loom out of a black nowhere. The break in the flood wall, arcing over asphalt to span lofts still stained with tobacco leaf and canal. Orphan and slave-built superhighway of a dream. Who prayed here, knees in salty mud, in the dawns before they raised a church up on the hill? Did they find peace in the reflected shallows, rock skips from Richmond docks, so much unloaded from the water? Who sought forgiveness? Who miracles? Whose faith was lost when the flour mills burned alongside the shipyards? A city left sorting its laundry from storm waste, whose secrets are kept from the river with the weight of cement. A rail's drawbridge has long been welded shut, but wet tar stains still the skin of young palms who come here fishing for redemption, lured by that which is still holy. Thanks.
Thanks so much, Joanna. Really beautiful words and the embodiment of a city that tells its stories. It's really powerful to lift up arts and culture as a way to embrace the city that we have been gifted and that we are stewarding, and so thank you. When I arrived here in this role in City Hall back in January, I knew that there were so many things that I had heard along the campaign trail, so many different needs that were raised by our members of our community. And I didn't want to just kind of parrot those or just talk about the ideas that I was hearing on the campaign trail and sort of hastily throw those together in a plan. What I wanted to do was take all of that input from along the way, from the thousands of residents I connected with during the campaign last year, through the work of our transition team. And I wanted to really take all of that and digest it and to set a clear vision for the kind of city that we could build together. And so early on, maybe a couple months after I started the role, I shared what I called the 7 pillars of a thriving Richmond. And you can see those on the cards that are around the seats and blowing around this observation deck right now. Those 7 pillars were really intended to be a framework to guide everything we do. To be a city hall that gets things done, to have neighborhoods that meet our housing needs, to support families where every child can succeed, to create an economy that leaves no one behind, and inclusive communities where everyone's rights are protected, to work towards a sustainable built environment planned for future generations, and to do storytelling that heals, that tells the truth about our city's past and helps us move forward together. These goals, these pillars, these are broad, but they are also bold statements of priority, and they represent the heart of what it means to build a thriving city, one that is effective and equitable and inclusive and forward-looking. But as I've learned throughout my years leading organizations, that setting priorities isn't enough, because real progress happens when we're clear about what we're trying to achieve and how we'll know if we're getting there. And so that's why I'm really excited to share that the work over the last few months that our team has been doing has been hard, focused work of turning vision into action. We've worked to refine our goals and to define what success looks like, and we've created ways to measure that. And we've captured all of that in what we are calling the Mayoral Action Plan, or the MAP. The MAP lays out specific goals under each of these 7 pillars, and it identifies the metrics that we'll use to track our progress. And together, those 7 pillars and the Mayoral Action Plan will really form our roadmap to a thriving Richmond. The MAP matters because it brings clarity and accountability and transparency to everything that we do, and it shows what our values look like in practice. how we measure success, how we communicate about that success, and how ultimately we are holding ourselves accountable to the people that we serve. I think the map also shines a light on the extraordinary work that is happening every single day across city government. The work that often goes unseen, but is the work that actually keeps this city moving forward. The work that so many of you up here on this observation deck are driving. Over time, the map will help us to tell that story, the story of a city working together to build a stronger and more inclusive future. At its core, the map is built on a few simple but powerful ideas. That a thriving Richmond must be inclusive, creating opportunity for everyone, no matter their zip code, their race, or their income. A thriving Richmond must have a city government that works, one that delivers services efficiently, that listens to its residents, and that gets the basics right. A thriving Richmond must be safe in our streets, in our schools, and in our homes. And a thriving Richmond must make space for every voice, because real progress happens when we honor the lived experiences and build change with our communities and not just for them. So I want to take a moment and just thank everybody who has helped bring the map to life, especially Shannon Paul and Thad Williamson, who you'll hear from shortly. You guys have just poured so much care and time and expertise into this work. And also to many of you department heads who are here today and your teams who really leaned into this effort, spent hours translating the work that you do into clear, defined strategies with measurable metrics. Thank you for that work. This map is more than a document. It is a shared commitment. It's a commitment to each other, to our residents, and to the future that we're building together. And my hope is that as you read through the map, that you'll see yourselves in it. You'll see how your work and your ideas and your passions are helping to write the next chapter of Richmond's story. Because this is our story, and together we are building a city that truly works for all of us. Thank you so much.
Well, good afternoon. Excited as always to stand before you today. Good God Almighty, it's a lot of people out there. Man. Well, listen, I will tell you, one of the greatest joys that I've had in my professional career is really just being right here in Richmond and serving a leader who I believe has big vision. And I start with that because many times, and I've said it here way too much, we oftentimes agree on the what, but we disagree on the how. But that's like an incomplete statement. Because the truth of the matter, sometimes the most important thing is the why. And I'm excited to work with Mayor Avula because he's been pretty daggone clear to me what the why is. And the why are we doing a map? I hear council talk about transparency often. I think there's great value in that. Surprisingly, I hear our department heads talk about that as well. Because we want people to know what we're doing and the value of our work. In addition to that, it's the key to forming and getting us all on the same page of the how, which is how we'll get the work done. I've been in, I think, 9 governments, 5 of them municipal, and never at the beginning of an administration do you actually get a plan transparently by which the public, those who are responsible for delivering services, and every part of this government and the people we serve will not only know what we're measuring, what our goals are, but also how we plan to do it. I think that's important. I think that's something I haven't even seen before. And so I am so excited to stand with you today with this rock star group of individuals, but even more so, the rock stars are the people in the crowd. I see our public safety superheroes, see those folks who, fix bridges, clean roads, help with our human services to make sure common man has an opportunity to succeed in the midst and at a time when that's just not so common. And the how is what I'm really excited to stand with a more talented group of individuals that I've been able to work with maybe ever to deliver for Richmonders. And so how we'll do that. Think first, department by department. Where you eat an elephant, one bite at a time. Each department plays a role in making sure that the mayor's vision comes to fruition. And that's key. Because for the first time, it seems like in a long time, mayor, council, and all those folks in this jambalaya pot, all trying to get the same bite in the same direction. Because the second piece is how we will track and make sure we're on the same page in delivering these services is going to be vital. But you don't just come up with those things out of thin air. So you'll hear from some of our leaders about what's going into that pot. But the truth of the matter is we're going to spend some time kind of figuring it out. How do we get to the end of this road? Is it better to measure this or that? Or in some instances, both. I think the other part, and probably the most important, is making sure that we're aligning around shared goals. Before I got here, man, I remember hearing, hey, man, got to worry about that council. Then I got here, man, you better worry about them department heads. I ain't worried about nobody. You know, what I see is a bunch of people who are connected on the what. That's a better Richmond. And so the how is making sure we align in not only being transparent on what we're going to do, but also how we're going to do it. And in closing, I think it's important for us to show what we're learning. And that's a big part of bringing the mayor's map to life. We'd be crazy to say we got all the answers today. If we did, I sure wouldn't be here. Many of you wouldn't either, because our purpose is to make sure we deliver more often, better, and more consistently. And you only identify and are able to do that together and by learning. And for us, that's our how. We're committed to making sure residents are engaged in that, because without residents, none of us would be here. You don't have a police chief who has to keep people safe. You don't have people who need clean drinking water. Go on and on and on. And so making sure that our residents see themselves as well as understand every step that we take in the map might be the most important part. And so I am extraordinarily excited, as I started off with, not only serving a mayor who has a big enough vision and a commitment to transparency to put it out there early and often, but probably even more so being tasked with the heavy but righteous burden of delivering the how. And so I appreciate y'all having us here today and supporting the map and hopefully seeing yourselves in it.
Good afternoon. We've been asked to keep this brief, but I'm just going to make a crazy assertion, which is what we're doing right now. This is the way the system of government is supposed to work. You know, a mayor is elected as chief executive officer on the basis of a vision offered to the voters of the city, and also on the basis of the things he or she has heard from voters and residents as being important. And on the basis of that feedback and on the basis of the vision, the candidate is elected and then is charged with trying to shape government in the direction that people want, need, and voted for. Then the mayor brings in the administrative leadership to execute that vision. The map is, in addition to those essential ingredients, I think is going to be really important. It's a public commitment, as the mayor and CEO both said, but it's also that bridge, that practical bridge between what people want, that is what the residents of the city want and need from city government, and how our staff, led by Mr. Donald, are going to get it done. So that sounds simple, but it's much easier said than done. It has been a lot of work. I'm so appreciative to the mayor for his urgency from day one to move this ball forward thrilled beyond belief that we have a CAO who not only is aligned with the map, but has embraced it and has made it better and stronger in his relatively short time here. And finally, to all the staff who have really engaged with this, who I think have welcomed the process, have made it a lot better, given us their best thoughts, multiple revisions, feedback loops, and so forth. So I'm so excited about what this organization is primed to do on behalf of the residents of the city. I turn it over to my colleague, Shannon Paul, who's been with us every step of the way.
He's just doing that because I've been here 25 years, that's all. So, and in those 25 years, you've seen a lot. I was here in the old form of government when we had a council manager form of government. I've been through multiple administrations, and in those years, there have been efforts to improve processes. But I must say, this is the first time that an administration, that I've seen an administration come in, walk in and say, here's the map. Here, we're going to be radically transparent. We're going to be accountable starting day one. Not to mention a water crisis almost starting day one, and still, time after time, try to hit those marks, try to achieve goals of accountability and transparency, even when it's been difficult. And I appreciate that. And I'm really super excited, genuinely super excited, because the map is a mayoral action plan, but it also can show us there's a destination to reach, right? That's what a map does. It points something out. And that is what the vision for this map is. Richmond, a city where all people and places thrive. That's what we're going to do. We got to do it together. The employees here, the press, the citizens, the stakeholders, businesses, visitors. That's what good governance looks like. And I'm excited that we're going to do this together. Thank you.
All right, y'all. There's actually a lot of thank yous I want to say, but if everyone could give another round of applause to the people standing behind me. Yeah, obviously to the mayor for your vision, but for your powerful, powerful team that brings it to life. It's a joy to serve alongside this group. Okay, so a couple of announcements as we conclude. One is there are snacks by our very, very favorite Nightingale. So get some ice cream on your way out. And Mira said that what? And chips. Oh, I thought we also have chips. I'm very excited about that. There was a lot of talk about the chips, and I didn't know if we had them, so I apologize. Ice cream and chips. And the people who sat down and followed Mira's instructions get to go first. So there are also some blank boards that will be around here, and that I think we hope to have be around City Hall in a continuing way too. And the plan has been really about leaning into a thriving Richmond. Like that destination that Shannon is talking about is a thriving Richmond. And so we want to hear from you about that. What does the map kind of mean and look like to you as we try to get where we're going? And we want to hear from you and engage. So walk around, write a few words around what that means to you. Where do you find yourself in the map? And what are ways you're going to contribute to that strategic plan to get us there? So I think we're good. Other than that, any other instructions? And the map is up on the website for you're like, where is this thing we've been talking about? So it is now public for your perusal. How many pages is it? 25. About 25. So happy reading. Thank you guys so much for coming.